Okay, let's talk about graphing a linear equation. As you can see, a linear equation, the root word there is line. So when you graph this, you should end up with a straight line. No matter what direction, the line will be straight, okay? So keep that in mind. So your essential question should be, how do I graph a linear equation? I'm going to show you how to do that. How do I graph a linear equation? And you might want to slow down this video so that you can write your notes. But basically, step 1 is you choose some x values. Step 2 is you substitute. Step 3 is you find the y. And step 4 is you graph. Now, you should be writing these down, but choose x values. X can be anything, and depending on what you choose as your x, you will get your y. So if some student might choose a 0 and a 2, somebody else might choose a 2 and a 4 as their x, and obviously whatever you plug into an equation, you're going to get a different y based on your x. So to keep everything simple, I'm going to ask you to choose, and all of you choose the same x's. Okay, so this is how we're going to do that. In the first example, we have the equation y equals 3x plus 2. For all of these examples, we're going to choose the x's -2, 0, +2, and 4. Okay? So let's do -2 first. All you need to do here is basically substitute. Since this is your x value, you're going to substitute wherever you see an x, you're going to plug in this x value. So basically it's going to be y equals 3 times your x plus 2. That's the basic framework for every x that you choose. So now in this case, the x is the -2. So we're going to plug in the -2 as our x value, and then we're going to take 3 times -2, which is -6, plus 2. And again, this is going to be our y. And then we think about our rule, y equals -6 plus 2. These are different signs. You subtract them, you get -4. So now we know when our x is -2, our y is -4. We plug it in right there. And then we now have our xy coordinate, which is -2 and -4. Simple. So let's do it again with the 0. Now our x is 0. So again, we're going to start with the basic equation, 3 times x plus 2. And now we're saying our x is 0. So we're going to plug in our 0. So y equals 3 times 0, which is 0, plus 2. So y equals 2. So our y is 2 when our x is 0. So our coordinates are 0 and 2, because we always remember it goes xy, xy, right? Okay, so I'm going to continue this chart, and now our x is equal to +2. So y equals 3 times something plus 2. Again, now our x is 2. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. So y equals 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 2, which is 8. So y equals 8. Now I'm going to put that in my y column. Y equals 8, and I have my coordinates 2 and 8. So here's our last one. Y equals 3 times something plus 2. Y equals 3, times 4. 3 times 4 plus 2. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2. And then y equals 14. So when our x is 4, our y is 14. So now we have a 4 and a 14. So now we've plugged in we have 4 different coordinates for our xy coordinates. We have 4 of them. So now we're ready to go ahead and plot our graph on a line. And basically I've done that here. The equation y equals 3x plus 2, I have the first coordinate -2 and -4, which is right over here. -2, -4. And then the next one is 0, 2, which was over here. And then the next one was 2 and 8, which was over here, 2 and 8. And the last one is 4, 14, 4 and 14, which is right over there. And then when I drew, connected the points, I drew a straight line. It might not look perfectly straight right there, but if you use a ruler and you do it on your graph paper, you should see a straight line. Now, if you don't get a straight line, you did something wrong, either in your calculations or in your plotting of your points, okay? So the table that you have makes it really simple. All you're doing is plugging in the points, plugging in your x values, getting a y. Then once you have your x and your y, you put it on a graph and draw a straight line. And it's as simple as that. So practice, 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 and you should be good to go.